Oh my god, it's windy. Good morning and welcome to another video. And I'm gonna be honest here, I have no idea what I'm doing. Ordinarily I'll plan my videos and like maybe the day before think I could do this and then this and that, I could work quite well with this, but today that has not been the case. Haven't planned it at all. I've been really busy and so I've got to the gym, got my camera out, and here we are. I mean, I could pull it out of the bag, the video could be awesome, or it could suck. So if that's the case, I apologise, but you're already watching it now, so unlucky. Anyway, in terms of plans for the day, obviously I'm going to train now. I've got to do a back and bicep session, aka a pull session. Then we're going to go, I think, and meet my dad for lunch. Then I've got some work to do, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah, if you're excited to see me just do some things, then give the video a like. If you're not excited at all and you're annoyed that you clicked on the video because I haven't put any thought into it, give it a like anyway, because as a YouTuber I can actually see the emotions behind the like. So basically, however you're feeling, just press the like button and I can do the rest.
Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'ma take her. Shake her, yeah she was a ball shaker. She shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Something like a rose when we came out there. We settled facts like Da Vinci.
Woo! Training is done and I'm feeling good. Like, that session's probably my favourite session of the week, the pull session too. I just felt like ridiculously pumped, up my biceps and my back. I was loving life. Like, bulking is so much better for training. I can't emphasise enough, it's so much better for training. Obviously it's not as good for abs, but for the rest of your body, like my vascularity and just the pump in general is just so much better than when I was on a cut. Plus it's way more enjoyable because obviously you're lifting more weight and you kind of feel better about yourself. I added a couple of new things in, so I was doing those kind of cable straight arm like pull downs for lats, and then like those, I basically made them up. Like, essentially your lats are responsible for pulling your humerus into your body, right? But when you do any kind of row or pull down, it tends to be in this plane, and I wanted to get something more in this plane, so I was doing those. I mean, I called them like reverse lateral raises because it's basically the opposite to a lateral raise, and as with the cable push downs, like I felt a huge amount of engagement in my back. I find personally, I don't know if it's because my biceps are like strong, but I find that I'm good at engaging my lats, but any kind of pulling, any kind of pull down or rowing movement, I still find it hard, particularly when I start to get fatigued, to not engage my biceps. Whereas doing those two exercises, I felt it like, you know, almost entirely in my lats, which is really, really good. It's like a novel, enjoyable experience for me. So I'm definitely going to continue doing those. And what I would say is, like, if you are struggling to engage a muscle, then try something different. You know, obviously, assuming you are, you know, assuming you know what you're doing. Like, obviously, if you have no idea how to engage a muscle, then just practice doing that. But if you know how to engage a muscle and you're still finding it hard to get that engagement in an exercise, try something different. And with that said, I'm really, really hungry now because it's lunchtime. So let's go home, find Says, Luca, and possibly Dad, and make it happen. Mama. Back home, the situation is as follows. Says and Luca are back. Dad's just come round, fresh from Wimbledon. It's been umpiring, Dad. Dad loves Dad's dress sense. I mean, I'm hoping that as I get older, I don't just like bizarrely inherit this dress sense. Anyway, I'm freaking starving. Let's get some food. And we're in. We've come to the Sunshine Barbecue, which is like a really cool Turkish place around the corner from us. Starters arrived. Dad got hummus. Sipping your hands in there, Dad. Luca got Japanese cucumber. Says got hummus as well. And I got halloumi, which is, by the way, if you're unaware, the greatest cheese form known to man. Right, starters are done, it's game on. So I've got this lamb kofta wrap, it's basically a wrap, and loads of chips, salad, ketchup. Dad, what is that? You ordered it, mate, what is it?
I can't remember what it's called.
Okay, some kind of meat with rice. Sarah's got the same as me. You gonna eat all of that?
You can have some.
Right, I'm excited. Like some fizzy water? Oh, delicious. Okay, starter's done, main is done, we're now on to the dessert. Now, this is controversial in here, but the dessert, like, in my experience, is not great, but I took a risk, I got the rice pudding. Now, I personally don't agree with rice in pudding, like rice as far as I'm concerned is a savoury thing, but gave it a go, and actually, I take everything back I've ever said. That's incredibly good. After you get over the fact that there's rice in your pudding, it tastes, it's kind of like a creamy kind of custard kind of thing. It's really good. So I spent the last 15 years of my life just outwardly despising rice pudding. It turns out I like it. We're out, and that was sick. Like, I'm still in a state of shock at how much I like rice pudding. Like, honestly, that took me ages to come to terms with that. The food was good. Like, the food always is really, really good there. So if you ever happen to be in the local area, aka Hythe, and it's called the Sunshine Barbecue, the guys in there are really nice, and like I said, the food is amazing. Definitely recommend it. The birds, Luca.
Where are the birds?
Those are the birds, mate. Back home, Luca's down for a nap, and so I thought this would be a good time to have a little chat about a topic that's been on my mind for a while, but it came up in the gym today, and so I thought this would be a perfect time to talk about it, and that is genetics. So whilst I was training, and more specifically whilst I was training my biceps, two guys come up to me and said they watched my channel, and I was like, thanks, and they were like, no worries, and I was like, cool, and they were like, what got me thinking about this is that one of them asked me about my biceps. He said, basically, what can I do to get biceps of that size? And now this guy was quite a skinny guy. Like, sorry if you're watching this, mate, but you are quite skinny. I basically said, like, it's not gonna happen. Like, not in a rude way, just in an honest, truthful way. Like, I'm really fortunate in that I have really good bicep genetics. So basically, since I can remember, I've had, like, you know, when I was at school, I had the biggest biceps in my class. Like, me and my dorky friends used to go and flex our biceps in the playground to the din ladies and weird things like that, and I was always the winner. I remember, like, when I was at secondary school, even though I wasn't a massive kid, I always had, like, the biggest biceps, and that's continued to now. So, like, I could not train biceps for 6 months. In fact, I didn't. When I was triple jumping, I didn't train biceps for like 2 years. But I'm still gonna have bigger biceps than the average person. Whereas this guy in the gym today, he could train biceps for 6 months and they still won't be as big as mine. Not in like a boastful, arrogant way, like just because, like I said, I'm very fortunate in the sense that my biceps are genetically bigger than the average person. Now, the reason I'm saying this is just to make things easier, basically. As soon as you come to terms with the fact that genetics undermines pretty much everything in this world, then it makes it easier to be realistic about your goals. So with this guy in particular, what he needs to do is, rather than look at like me or look at people on TV and on magazines and on YouTube and say, why aren't I as size as that guy? He needs to look at himself now and then train hard, and in 6 months time have a look at the progress. And if he's been training properly, he's going to be significantly bigger and significantly stronger in 6 months than he is at the moment. Whereas if you're chasing something unattainable, someone that's got much, much better genetics than you, obviously you're doomed to fail. And let's face it, that's depressing. So I'm going to use sprinting as an example because I did athletics for 10 years, and what I basically learned is that athletics and any kind of sport that involves, like, you know, physical domination is 99.9% determined by your genetics, okay? So any sprinter that competes internationally or like even like on a county level, you know, like in your district, in your area, they were born to do that. So someone like Usain Bolt, for example, who I know is like an outlier and a genetic freak, but he could just train like reasonably hard and he's still going to be much faster than someone with average genetics who trains ridiculously hard. So going back to like the bodybuilding example, your genetics determines things like how easy you can burn body fat, where on your body you put body fat, how big your muscles can get, what kind of shape your muscles can get, your skeletal structure, even the level of hormones you have. And all of those things are responsible for how big and how good you're going to look. And so of course genetics play a big, big role in your appearance. And again, I'm not saying this to depress you and make you feel bad and give up. I'm saying it so that you kind of readdress your goals and you make your goals more realistic. Because if you aim for like the Arnold Schwarzenegger look, that may be physically impossible for you to ever attain. Whereas comparing yourself to where you were last month or last year is a lot more realistic, and you're gonna have a lot more success and feel a lot better about yourself doing that. So rather than use a diagram or a graph, I'm gonna be lazy and use Sez's two weird makeup things that happen to be in front of me right now. So the average person may be born and say they're around this level without any kind of training, right? Their physical potential in terms terms of muscle size is here. Then you get a genetic freak who's here without even training, and their potential's up here. So guy number 1 is training his nuts off and he's only here, whereas the genetic freak is barely even training and he's also here. As soon as he starts training harder, he overtakes that guy comfortably. Then of course if you add steroids into the mix, that puts him up here, which is just completely unattainable. To an extent, genetics are almost like a watered down version of steroids, in that you can have two people who do the exact type of training and yet they get completely different results. And in fact there's actually been studies that have shown just that. Studies that have shown they've taken like participants, they've put them through the exact same training regimen, and yet one guy has got a huge amount stronger and a huge amount bigger, and the other guy doing exactly the same things, eating the same amount of food, is nowhere near as strong and is nowhere near as big. That simply comes down to genetics. Now in the YouTube world, someone's going to scream steroids, but actually, like I said, it just comes down to what you're born with. So to summarize, what I want you to take away from this is what I said a minute ago in terms of setting your goals. Set yourself realistic goals. Use yourself as the target to beat. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can control. You know, you can't control how big, how good someone else looks. You can control how good you look. You know, there may be like a glass ceiling, a limit in terms of how good you're going to look, but you can still get to a really, really good level if you train hard and you train smart. And talking of training hard, I'm pretty sure I just heard Luca, so I'm going to train hard to get downstairs, put my shoes on and go and buy some cakes.
Okay, guys.
We're out and about on the cake finding mission. We come to Waitrose, which is expensive but cheap in the sense that you get a free coffee when you buy anything. So let's go and buy said items. Mission accomplished. I've got the coffee, or the latte to be precise. Sayers was in there chatting to some random guy. I'm not a big fan of socialising. I'm a much bigger fan of eating cakes, so I thought I'd come to the car. Sayers is now flaunting Luca at the window. Come to the car to eat my cake.
Yeah.
Freak of the devil. Here they come. So that is a...
I just got into the next door's person's car.
No, you didn't.
Well, I didn't actually get in. I opened the door and tried to put Luca in.
Awkward. A maple, what's it called? Pecan. Pecan butterscotch yum yum. Best cake in the world, IMO. Plus a caramel egg, which is like, if you've never tried them before, you're an idiot. Go and get one now. Why isn't it focusing? Focus. Okay, it's not happening. It's basically like an egg full of caramel, which is really, really good. So, I'm gonna have these things, drink the coffee, and we're gonna go, even though it's getting dark, there's like a farm around the corner where there's just like animals, which I guess is like standard practice for a farm. Luca likes animals. Vis-a-vis, we're going to the farm. Well, that's it, that's the end of the farm action, and as the old saying goes, when the farm action's over, the video action's over, so I'm going to wind it up here. Plus, it's about to be dark, you won't be able to see me, and Luca's getting upset because he's hungry, so we have to go home and get him some food. So, I'm going to end the video here, so I sincerely hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow.